Hey guys, today we're going to be drawing a really expensive pair of high heels. I'm using the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil and the Procreate app. If you're new to Procreate, I also have a video called 25 Procreate Tips and Tricks, which I suggest to watch first because as I draw, I'll be using these shortcut actions. I will link that video below. So grab your favorite tea or coffee and let's start drawing. So I got this image off the internet and I'm pretty sure that this shoe retails over $1,100 US. Anyway, I traced it up here on the top right, and I'm gonna begin by creating a new layer underneath the sketch, and we're just gonna trace the blue. So I'm gonna grab just a monoline brush. Now we wanna try to do this all in one stroke, so it's good to know where your end point is. Okay, I did a little mistake there, but we can always fix that. So I'm basically just going to copy what I see in the actual shoe versus what I'm doing over here. And I know I said to do this in one stroke, so it does help to see the entire object that you're tracing. And you can stop at any of the points, and the reason for that is just to get a more fluid line. I'm actually just going to close this off so that we can color drop. And then for each part of the shoe, I'm going to create a new layer. And then I'm going to grab this color here, and to grab the color, just put your finger onto that color and you're going to see the little color wheel pop up, and then it's going to show up on your color palette. So I'm going to start another layer for this beige backing here. And for here as well. All right, I think I got everything covered. So I'm gonna take off the sketch, and here's what we're left with. And we can begin by applying some of the shading. So I'm gonna start at the bottom left of the heel right over there. And we're gonna enable alpha lock. So click on the layer, hit alpha lock, and you're gonna see the background become transparent. And what this means is you can color anywhere where you've already colored, and it's not going to go outside the lines. You see what I mean like that? It'll only work within what you've colored. So I've grabbed a lighter shade of this gray, and I'm going to change my brush to an airbrush. And we can begin just by highlighting. Also going to select a tad shade lighter than the black. And I'm gonna alpha lock this heel as well. And then we're gonna grab this lighter shade of blue. And then with the blending brush right beside, also make sure that's on an airbrush. And we can just blend these together. All right, next if I zoom in, you can see kind of this shiny velvety texture. And I'm gonna try to see if Procreate has that same effect in one of their brushes. Now the only one I found that was kind of close to resembling it is under Elements in Hard Rain, and I believe this comes in the Procreate brush gallery. So I'm just gonna see how this looks. I have a lighter blue selected, and I'm just gonna go over here with some highlights. I don't know if you can see that if I zoom really close in. And if it's a bit too harsh, you can always take your blending brush and just lightly blend it together. But when I zoom in, you can see kind of a little bit of a texture. All right, now for inside the heel, same thing. And then up over here has kind of a leathery feel. And I know that there is a leather material. So I'm actually gonna try this old skin brush and see how that works out. If I zoom in real close, you can see. And then I'm just gonna blend this a little bit. So you can also see the designer name inside the shoe. And if you don't know who the designer is, it's Manolo Blahnik. So I'm gonna turn on the sketch, create a new layer, and just write that out. And then I'm gonna put that layer underneath the main shoe. And now we can do some of the stitching. So I'm going to create a completely new layer for that. And if I look really close at the stitching, it's basically a light blue and then a dark blue. So I'm going to grab this really light blue here, and then we're going to apply it with a really thin brush. And then we're going to do the light blue first. And as we go down, it does tend to go lighter. So I'm going to make this just a bit lighter. Maybe go over some parts. And then we're going to grab that darker shade of blue and do the same thing. So we're just going to fill in the other parts. And down over here you can see that it does get a little darker. So let me just grab this darker shade and go over some of these ones over here. And then lastly, we're just going to do the stitching on the interior of the shoe. So basically it's a dark brown and a lighter brown. And now the best part and the fun feature is these diamonds, which is going to be very tedious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab just this piece from the actual photo. Then we're going to go up here, hit freehand. We're just going to grab that, hit copy and paste, and it's gonna show up in another layer. And I'm just gonna move it up here so that I don't have to keep referencing back and forth. So I'm gonna create a new layer above the shoe and turn on my sketch. So this is what we're working with essentially. I'm only gonna draw a couple and then I'm gonna be copying and pasting that selection. And when you look closely, it's literally just pixels. It's just white with some grays and blacks and a hint of green. So I'm literally just winging this right now. Okay, so this is what I've drawn so far. And I have that on one layer. So I'm just gonna duplicate this by swiping left and hit duplicate. And then maybe we can just flip it vertically and rotate it. And then I'm just gonna copy and paste that all over the place. And then I'm gonna merge all of these together by swiping right, hitting group, and then hit flatten. So now all of these are in one layer. Then I'm gonna duplicate that again, and I'm gonna try to follow my sketch. And then whatever spaces are left, I'm just gonna fill it. Okay, so let's merge all of these. Okay, so now all of my bedazzled jewels are in one layer. I do notice that when we copy them, it's rather blurry, but I guess it's okay for this exercise. Okay, so I'm just gonna fill these in with random colors. Okay, that is really tedious. So I'm just gonna copy a little section over here and just paste it. All right, that took a lot of effort. I'm just gonna move this down a little bit. And you can see that there's a lot of drop shadow underneath it. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. And so the original layer, I'm just gonna go up to here, hue, saturation, brightness, bring it down to black. Just move it down like that. And then we're gonna go back up here, Gaussian blur, and then I'm gonna drag my pencil at the top. Okay, let's get rid of the sketch. And it kind of looks like that. Now I'm gonna go back in and just put some more of these circles because this looks like actually like some type of algae underneath the sea. But I'm gonna go back and try to make these diamonds on a new layer. And then we can put a highlight. And to finish it off, we can go under our lighting. So let me just get rid of this shoe sample here. We can go into our brushes under luminance. We could put a little lens flare like that. That might be a bit too much. So I'm gonna decrease that. Maybe there's 3 of them that are highlighted. And I forgot to do the stitching right by the logo, so let's just do that. So let's go to the stitching layer. And lastly, we're gonna do the shadow underneath the entire shoe. So let's get rid of all unnecessary layers like the sketch. And then now I'm just gonna group everything together except for the sample photo. So as you can see, everything is one layer. And then we're gonna do the shadow underneath it. So let's duplicate this group. And then we're gonna flatten. And then we're gonna go to the arrow tool and hit flip vertical. Now we really only want the heel right now. So we're gonna line up the two heels together. We're gonna make the opacity, I don't know, maybe to 20%. And then I'm just gonna erase with an airbrush. I'm gonna hold that line. I'm gonna make it straight. Okay, then we're gonna erase everything else. Okay, so now we have this part of the shadow. We need the other part of the shadow, and in the original photo, you'll see that it gets darker underneath here and lighter underneath. So I'm gonna move the photo off to the side just for reference. And to recreate that look, we're gonna go back to our shoe. We're gonna duplicate again. Flatten, go to the arrow, hit flip vertical, and then we're going to put this duplicated copy underneath like that. Then we're going to go to the hue, saturation, brightness, and then we're going to bring it down to black, and then I'm going to hit my alpha lock. And then we're just going to airbrush what we see over here. And then let's blend that together. All right, and then I'm gonna grab my eraser tool, which is in airbrush mode. And then we're just gonna erase. And then I'm gonna decrease the opacity just by a little bit. All right, so let's get rid of the photo. And there you go, guys. There is your $1,400 pair of shoes. You can print this, you can frame it, you can hang it on your wall. This is a really fun project. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial.
For more drawing tutorials and gadget reviews, be sure to subscribe to Draw with Marina.